Let me just give you a thought about this notion of Mashiach and why it is so central and critical to our belief system. This world is a difficult world. There is an enormous amount of suffering, struggle, evil, and we always wonder about that. It seems to be the antithesis of God himself. What do we know about God? God is good. God is loving. God is kind. All of the best qualities that we can conceive of, God has them to the ultimate degree. So why is the world the exact opposite? That's a conundrum that we face. So if we are to conceive that somehow this world is the way it was meant to be, that question will never be answered. So why is it a world of evil? Why isn't it a world of goodness? How can you conceive of a God who is good to produce a world which is the opposite? The way we get around that, and we're not just trying to get around it, is because this is the way we have been told in the prophets is the way it's going to be. God says, the world that I really intend to have is the world of goodness, the world where there's no evil, where there's no sickness, where there's no crime. A wonderful, perfect world. That's the objective. That's the world that will express God's reality and God's presence. But in order to get there in an earned way, God could have given us that world right away and said, okay, here it is, and so what? What will it mean when we have not participated in earning in it, anything of it? That's what our sages call nama dichsufa, bread of shame. Bread of shame means when you don't earn it and it's given to you. You don't appreciate it, you don't value it, you don't even feel a pleasure of it because it's just given to you. But when you earn it, then it has value, it has meaning, because you know this is a product of which I did. So God says to us, I have a world in mind, a beautiful, perfect world. But I'm giving you an opportunity to earn that world. And so here is a world which is pre-paradise, if you will. And there is evil, and you've got to fight it. And there is pain, and you have to overcome it. And there's opportunity, and you have to seize it. A whole structure of world. And then you will come into a world where, yes, I made this. I created this. This is mine. I did it. And once we get to that, we'll look back and say, all of that struggle is irrelevant. Forget about it. The wonders of the world of Mashiach will be so extraordinary that in moments we'll forget about everything else. Just as an aside, do you know, the Jewish people started when we were in Egypt for 400 years or 210 years, and then we went out of Egypt. Look in the Bible, look in the Torah. The story of the Exodus from Egypt unfolds over 5 sedras. 5 different portions, and each one tells another little bit, another little bit, another little bit, until eventually in Beshalach they get out. Hundreds of verses. How many verses cover the 210 years of slavery? 4. 4 verses. And it's all there. Those are the verses that we actually go through Pesach night. But it's 4 verses. Why is there such a disproportionate telling of the story? The answer is that once the Jewish people got out of Egypt, with the miracles that they saw, the suffering in Egypt shrunk. It shrunk down to 4 little verses in comparison to witnessing the Exodus coming to receive the Torah at Sinai. What incredible events! What could they remember of those few days of hardship in the past? So the Torah puts it down into 4 verses and it's over with. That and more is the way we will look at the time when Mashiach comes. The benefit, the pleasure, the exaltation that we will have will make the whole exile, the whole time before, pale and shrink into a distant memory. So that's what we're waiting for and working toward. We're working toward that coming of Mashiach. And everything that we do, an act today, a good word here, everything is recorded on your cell phones. The National Security Agency up here on Route 32 has every single word you utter. They're recording it. You wonder where you were an hour ago? Just ask them, they'll tell you. Some of us getting older, we have these, senior moments. In heaven, they got all of that recorded, and everything that you do of a positive nature, every mitzvah, every good, all, it's there. All waiting there for the time when Mashiach comes.
The Rohr Jewish Learning Institute has the largest collection of Jewish media online. Hit subscribe for more.